Okay, so I'm skipping ahead on my list to talk about The Gray Man. Let's do it. Here's another one that I'm late to talking about. Um, but what the heck? It took a few tries to finish this movie. I've been tired, I guess, when I tried to watch it. It's been a long week, so I fell asleep twice. But that's not has nothing to do with the movie, and that's really about my energy levels. I've had some early days this week, and so body's just been shutting down by the time I put the movie on. But I'm happy to report that I finished the movie, and what do I think about it? I liked it, actually. It reminded me a lot of, if you recall, a couple years ago, a film called Extraction came out, starring Chris Hemsworth, and I liked that film a lot more than I thought I was going to, and I think in a lot of ways, this felt like that. In that, I really wasn't sure how I would receive the film, and I came away from it pleasantly surprised. I actually appreciated it a lot about this film. And funny, Extraction, I remembered that that was a Russo Brothers produced project. Maybe you know the Russo Brothers. If you know MCU movies, you know the Russo Brothers. And Sam Hargrave directed that film. Who, as you may also know this, that he was the Captain America stunt double for some of the MCU films, and that's kind of cool when you recognize the ways in which members of the MCU family are branching out and doing other things outside of the MCU. Which brings us to this project, The Gray Man, directed by the Russo brothers, and starring Captain America himself, Chris Evans, as as one of the most fun antagonists I've seen in a little bit. Chris Evans is probably the best thing about this movie, I think. One of the best things, if not the best thing. He's just having so much fun, and he's enjoying being a jerk, and you like that though. I actually liked him. He was likable, and he seemed like the kind of guy in different circumstances you might want to hang with that guy. He's kind of cool. But yeah, no, Chris Evans made the movie. Frankly, to say nothing of Brian Gosling, who is always captivating and charming in all his roles, and he is here also. I think the way the character is written, he's clearly drawn out. So you know who the guy is, you know what his motivations are, and that's cool. And I think, in thinking more about it, you need a character like that to offset or sort of play against the character Chris Evans plays. And they are polar opposites, really, in that we have a guy who's more subdued, more stoic, and the other guy who's more flashy. He talks a lot. He's got smiles a lot. He's reveling in what's going on. And I think that's not the case for Ryan Gosling's character, Sierra Six, which is a cool name, by the way. That's such a cool Sierra Six. Like, you thought 007 was cool. 007 is that, that's in a different plane. Like, that code name is a whole other thing. It's not about sounding cool anymore at that stage with 007. But Sierra Six actually sounds like that's cool. And I'm a Bond fan, so I'm not knocking 007. So that's Sierra Six was tight. I was like, dang, that's a cool situation. And you got a guy who you get the feeling doesn't necessarily love the job. He's doing it to keep himself out of prison, but that works. And I think, overall, you got a good situation with this film. Billy Bob Thornton and Alfred Woodward. You have some key veteran thespians in the mix. I got Anna de Armas, who's fantastic, I think, in this film too. I think what's cool about her in this movie, this feels like, speaking of Bond, if you've seen No Time to Die, you know she plays Paloma in that film. And I think for those of us who wanted more of Paloma and didn't get it, this, in a way, is a sort of spiritual continuation of what you might see with Paloma on a different mission. She's playing a different character here, but yeah, she was great. She was great to see. It was great to see her in action, doing fighting, and obviously her acting is fantastic. We know that, but the fighting, she was great. You just got more of the Cuba sequence in No Time to Die in this film, which is awesome. That's cool. Speaking of the fight choreography was great. Actually, I think it was unique. You had people doing stuff with different weapons and making weapons out of things, and doing stuff with like cables and things. It was really thrilling. The fight choreography is pretty cool. I think it's always cool to see different stuff, because you can look. There's so many action movies out there where fighting is just, there's only so many things you can do with the human body, to throw a punch or to throw a kick in a unique way, to take a box and make it into a weapon and strangle somebody with it. There's only so many things like that you can do and make it feel fresh. This film finds a way to make it feel fresh, to make fighting unique, and it's cool. It's very well done. The cinematography is interesting. Let's talk about that for a second. So, I'm a fan of unique camera angles and things, and tracking shots when they're done well and they don't feel off. I'll say this movie had angles that I wasn't sure about, and I wasn't sure how it added to the tone of a scene. And frankly, it might have, because it was so confusing, disorienting a little bit. There was a feeling that this doesn't necessarily take away from what I'm seeing on screen, but I don't know how much it lends to what I'm seeing on screen. You had really weird sort of Dutch angles that were not, I don't know. It's not expected. It's not stuff you see all the time. And I think I'll give the film points for that, because it's not, whenever you see new angles, that's always cool. And even if it doesn't always work, and I'm not sure all the angles worked in this film. It also had interesting tracking shots, like really weird crane shots that I'm not sure how they pulled off. Was some of it CG, and there was a marriage of CG and sort of practical stuff with, I can't. Some of them were, sometimes it was cool to see how the camera swooped in and made it transition to the scene it was swooping into. And sometimes it just was more like being on a roller coaster, being a camera on the roller coaster when it was doing all these loop-de-loops and stuff. So, and nothing more than that. I don't know how much it added in every case, but it wasn't a loss in all the cases. There were some cases where it was pretty cool to see how the camera was doing different stuff. Oh, the writing was pretty, the writing overall was fairly strong. From just characterization standpoint, you didn't really need a ton of backstory for everybody. I think the person who was most important to have a really good handle on was obviously Six. So you need a little bit. There are certain pieces, you don't get a lot, you get enough, so that we know who the guy is and what's going on. He has a connection with a young lady in the film, which is very well done, I think, who is the niece. She plays the niece of Billy Bob Thornton's character. And I thought that was good. You don't see a lot of it, but it's just enough where you buy into what's going on. You buy into the connection, and I'm with it. And I can't remember the young actress's name. But she was very good too. She's not around a lot, but she was good. And I look forward to seeing more stuff that she's in, because she was good here. Yeah, it's an honest to goodness fun action movie, and it doesn't have a ton of depth. It dips a little bit. There's a little bit of depth, but not a ton. It's not something you have to really continuously spend time thinking about. And it's pretty simple. There's a MacGuffin, Everybody's doing stuff to try to get this MacGuffin or to keep the MacGuffin safe. It's got some classified, sensitive information on it, and if it were released into the world, people would get jacked. Like, it's not good. People get jacked up. It's not a good thing. So you have Six, who's been entrusted with this with the MacGuffin, and everyone else trying to retrieve it. That's sort of the plot stuff, and that's what we're dealing with. And if you look at, it's like any other sort of run of the mill action movie in that way. What sets it apart, though, I think, is the people behind this film, the Russo Brothers. If you've watched any of the MCU films in the last 10 years, they've been behind some of the strongest films put out, period, in the MCU, and they bring their stamp, their charm, their energy, their DNA is all over this picture, and it's cool. From the writing to how, like, to the fight choreography, to every aspect of this film is a Russo Brothers situation through and through, and that's cool. And it's cool to see them again doing stuff, outside of the MCU. I think they clearly know what they're doing. They know how to tell a story, and they know how to execute. And this was fun. I think that they knew they were smart to bring Chris Evans into the mix, because again, he makes this movie. I can't say it enough. If you're on the fence about watching, you watch for him. He will carry you through this film if you have not necessarily elevated opinion of Netflix films. I think this is one of the ones that it's worth a look, and it's might be even worth the rewatch. So check this film out, because it was fun. I had a good time watching it, and I think if you like any of the people in the movie, if you like people behind the scenes, you might like this one. You might, although I don't know, maybe not. Maybe you won't. I was surprised people had other opinions about Extraction. I thought that was a solid action movie, but you see what you think. Anyway, if you've made it this far in the video, thank you for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time to stick this one out. I'm coming back with more videos, but I think that's going to be it for me for this one. So I'm signing off. I'm out of here.